What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Business Therapist. I'm your co-host, Chris Angel. I'm here with your host, Arnell Tanyag. What's up, Arnell?
Hey, Chris. Yes, we're back again.
Here we go. We're just like, I don't know, if we went back and listened to all the episodes prior to this one, we just keep hitting, I think, really important topics. So like, let's just keep going, man. Let's ride the momentum of, big conversations. We're dealing with the real trick to breaking through. Everybody wants to break through.
Yes.
Where they currently are. We talked about the gap last time, like where you are and where you want to go.
That's correct.
But I think sometimes, and we'll expand on this in our conversation, but a lot of times people look outside of themselves for all sorts of answers to break through, right?
Correct. That's
and
correct.
A lot of times they're missing the one thing that really causes them to break through. And I'll let you reveal, what's the real trick to breaking through.
Yeah, the real trick of breaking through. It's interesting. You probably think this is cliche. Is how do you take care of yourself? Mm-hmm. I mean, in the last quarter, a lot of the business owners I work with, we have them focused on the 10 elements. And the number one element they always have to take care of every quarter is how do you take care of yourself?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I just want to say, because you have some really compelling case studies with this, right? Like, like you might, like you said, it's cliche and you might listen to this and say like, oh yeah, take care of yourself. I've heard it. But when you frame that inside of the results, Arnell, that your clients are getting by creating plans around taking care of themselves, all of a sudden you go, oh, I think I've been underestimating how important that is.
Yeah. Like I'll give you an example. I had a financial advisor who took the energy profile and this energy profile, and it talks about 4 energies: emotional, mental, spiritual, and physical. And her physical energy was real low. And she said to me, well, what does that mean? I said, you're probably tired all the time. You're exhausted. You have brain fog. You're not always on. She goes, oh yeah, that's me. That's right. I said, so what do you want to do? She goes, I think I'm going to go and walk and network. I said, no, don't do any of that stuff. You network all the time. She goes, yeah, you're probably right. So what she ended up doing, she ended up hiring a yoga instructor for like 6 months or so. And she took this yoga instructor, energy level got up, and then she just was very focused. And because we realized when we looked at her energy profile was low, like I had a gentleman who was a realtor and said his spiritual was high, his emotional was high, but his mental and his physical was low. I said, well, what are you doing to increase your physical energy? Because look, if you're working a job and doing real estate and you're not taking care of yourself, then all the stuff we're talking about growing your real estate business, you're gonna be tired and wore out. He goes, yeah, I'm kind of right now. So are you sleeping early? Eating? Are you eating? Right. He goes, well, what do you mean? Let's talk about that. Because at the end of the day,
yeah, let's talk about that. Right?
Yeah, let's talk about, because at the end of the day, all the stuff we can give you, all these strategies and energy, all these strategies and stuff you do, you're going to be tired. And you're going to be really tired. You're not going to be able to implement. You're not going to be able to do all the work in a 6 to 8 hour day, and you're just going to be dragging every day.
Right. Right. I love this because I feel like, again, it's very easy to focus on a tool, or it's very easy to focus on something out here that's going to get me to the next place I want to go. And we often, because we're in our own fishbowl, we don't see the rhythms of our own life. Talk more about the energy thing, because I don't think a lot of times we don't think of energy management. We always think of time management. I'm too busy, but talk more about energy.
Yeah, they say they say now, time management is the biggest challenge, and it's like time block and all that. But it's all on how you manage your energy. So there's like the 2 biggest energies you have to manage is spiritual, basically mean you have goals, where you want to go from here to there. But physical energy. They say physical energy. It's like I have everybody take this energy profile test, and 9 out of 10, everybody's physical energy is always low.
Interesting.
Always low. And it's always related to, it's interesting, it's always related to their daily ritual, how they manage their physical energy. So, and because if you don't have good physical energy, you're not going to wake up early. If you're not eating right, you may have a good day, but then you have 3 bad days. And I see a lot of people who, their biggest challenge of growing their business is they don't take care of themselves, And so like, for example, like if somebody, like I have some clients I have like one person, she does a gratitude journal. Before she wraps up by the end of her day, she writes down 3 things that she's done really well. And when she came to me, she was overwhelmed, always stressed out. We started having her write that gratitude journal before she ended. And she goes, when I leave work, Arnell, I feel good.
Yeah.
So her production's better. She has control of her time and energy. She's more positive. She's more upbeat. Then I have some people who wake up in the morning, they exercise, they write like that book that Mike Romero gives, The Miracle Morning for Real Estate Agents. There's a Miracle Morning for Entrepreneurs that tells you what to do. Because I think what happens is with this energy, if you don't take care of yourself, like a lot of our clients have to say, what are your biggest challenges? Like, are you not exercising, not eating right? And then we have to help them develop a plan.
Yeah.
So that while they're doing those activities, they can do the activities for the business. Yeah. If they don't take care of themselves, the activities that they do for the business is short-lived. They won't follow through.
I think it's interesting. So, I mean, let's summarize so far. What we're saying is like, look, one of the real secrets to breaking through is taking care of yourself. Now, I mean, that's very simple in concept, but if we go deeper in this, like there's a lot of things that get in the way of you actually taking action with that. I think one of the things that I've seen for myself, I'm throwing myself under the bus, I see this with other people too, though, is we're not honest about those things. Like, here's the thing, like we want to talk about health and you want to talk about how much I'm eating, how much I'm drinking, how much I'm not exercising, how much, like we start getting really honest and nobody wants to get real about that.
That's correct.
And so it becomes really hard for anybody to create, like if you create a plan on top of not being honest about the things that are sabotaging what could happen, you could have all the best gratitude journals in the day. And if you're still drinking 5 whiskeys at night,
that's correct,
you're going to have brain fog tomorrow. I don't care how great your gratitude journal was, but if you're not honest about like what you're doing to your body, good luck.
Yeah, you're right. Like I had a client last year who was a real estate agent. It was a big Mike Ferry, loved Mike Ferry, but she thought she needed to do something different. She wanted to do referrals. So I had to take the profile. I saw your energy level was low. I said, you know what you need to do? You need to join. Do you like running? Oh, I love running. All right, you need to sign up for this J&A Racing. They have a running club. She was like, why? I said, look, you need to build up your physical endurance and you like to run. And they have accountability where you show up every Saturday, you run, you train for half marathon. All right, she signed up, paid for it. She got really involved. After 6 months, we stopped working together. She goes, that one thing that you gave me, told me to do, changed my whole outlook for this year. I had more confidence. I lost weight. I realized I want to go back to Mike Ferry. I like the Mike Ferry thing. I love relationships.
Wow.
And I said to her, because here's the thing is you were struggling. I said, we had to figure out, because here's what I realized, the physical win, when she started winning at running, when she started winning at running half marathons and marathon, got involved, her confidence level and everything around the business changed. Wow. So a lot of the clients, I tell them, I said, look, when we take care of ourselves, we're looking to build wins for ourselves. Sometimes we can't see the win in the business because we're finding something that literally is unknown, unsure, but we have to forecast our best and go for it. But if we're getting wins, like, okay, we're going to walk 20 minutes today. Oh, we were able to do it. We went 25 minutes. Oh, so we start, it starts counterbalancing negativity or the uncertainty we have in the business.
I think that's right. That's the word, uncertainty. I think the majority of people feel unsure about themselves. Like if we get really, but if we don't get honest about that, then what happens is we just have this general unhappiness about stuff. So we keep looking for answers I'm going to buy this thing and I'm going to buy that thing and I'm going to partner with this person. And we keep looking for things that will save us outside of ourselves.
That's correct. And you're right. And I think the thing is, I realize this when I tell my clients, we take care of ourselves first, then we look at prioritizing the business, and you'll drive the business a lot faster and quicker.
Right.
And then, and people are like, well, take care of yourself. I mean, like, I really believe physical energy, exercising, this exercise, getting up, work, exercising, or learning how to eat, time blocking. I mean, because I think we knew what to do, but I think the business, we felt like we need to put that to the side, don't take care of ourselves, drive the business. And then once we get to a certain level, we'll go, okay, we can start losing weight. But then, it's a miserable journey doing it that way. I think what I've noticed, the ones who are following what we're saying, we take care of ourselves, we get a better return. We get a better return of how we feel, and we start seeing accomplishes not only personally, but it helps us feel confident in what we do. The uncertainty in the business becomes a lot easier because now we know it's eventually going to come. We're just not, because I think as owners, if we don't see some wins anywhere, we're not going to stay in the business long enough. It's very discouraged and depressing. And then if we have an established business, it ends up becoming, we have no choice to keep.
Listen, I would add this on top of that for those, because I know you have clients that are, doing $500,000 or more. Like when you start getting into the higher end clients, you as a leader, I mean, maybe you've had some of those aha moments, right? Those realizations, but if you want retention, you got to take care of yourself. If you want retention, you got to take care of yourself. And
That's
in
right.
your team, if you want morale and culture in your team, then all of a sudden it's not about helping your team be more productive with tools and things. It's about investigating with your team their own energy.
That's
I think
correct.
that's ultimately the lid that's going to be on your organization is how is your organization, meaning you and your people, how are you all managing your energy?
You're right. And a lot of times, I mean, you see companies now, they'll go and do, they have wellness programs. They'll go run races. I mean, they'll bring people in to talk about how to healthy eating.
Right.
They just know that they used to teach that at home. Mm-hmm. They don't have time to teach that. So they're willing to bring that to the workplace. Yeah. So that's a value added to it, because they know if the energy is high, everybody produces well. If the energy is low, then somebody has to pick that other person up, but that won't last forever. You know what I mean?
Let's wind down with a couple of things. Like, let's share, I mean, if you want to, or if you want, I can just do it, but let's share, like, out of those 4 areas. So we have spiritual, physical, what are the other ones?
Mental and emotional.
Mental and emotional. Let's just share what you and I do as places to start. Or I can share it if you want, but I feel like I want people to have something tangible, right? Like inside of, one area inside of, like, let's use food. I guess that would be physical, right?
Yes.
Like, I do intermittent fasting, and I haven't been super tight on that in the last year. I've been doing it for four years, but what I started doing even in the last week is the game I play with myself is I don't eat until after 11 a.m.
That's good.
Before that, it was like I would do it at 10, sometimes 9:30, sometimes 1 in the afternoon. But it wasn't consistent. And now I'm playing this game with myself called it's after 11, and every hour past 11, I just give myself extra brownie points, right? And what's interesting is my clarity. You talk about clarity. I'm like, when you're fasted in a fasted state, like I am.
Wow.
I'm laser focused on whatever. My energy's high. So I'm talking about like tangibility. Like, that's very practical. That's something that I do.
Here's what I think. I subscribe to the Weight Watchers app where they watch what you eat.
Oh, yeah.
I like to eat. That's I just like to eat. I just have to watch what I eat. But then the other thing, the night before, I'll look. The night before, I'll go. Okay, what's my day look like? Okay, do I need to prepare some food, some snacks, and bring it with me? Because what I realize, if I'm running all day, then I need to have that food ready. Then if I have to go eat, I'll just look at the app. Okay, what do I need to eat? This and that.
Yeah.
I think for us, totally. It's a lot of it's preparation.
Dude, meal prep is. When I meal prep, I'm way more on point with how I feel, and when I don't meal prep, you'd be shocked at what I throw in my mouth. You're like, dude, you just binged a whole bag of Doritos, like a whole jar of Ben and Jerry's ice cream. You're like, what are you doing? But that's the point of meal prep. Okay, so that's physical. Let's talk about spiritual. What do you do for spiritual?
I think spiritual, a lot of times with spiritual, I think for spiritual, I write my goals every quarter and I review them on a daily and weekly basis. Yeah. And then also, I read the Bible when I go to church. But I think on spiritual is I got goals. Yeah. And I look at them and look at achieving them. Yeah. Because I think when they talk about spiritual, a lot of people, if they say this in the book, is if you don't have any goals of where you want to go, then you really haven't, then you really you struggle and what to go for. Man.
I like that you say it that way, because I feel like a lot of times goal setting can become this exercise that doesn't have an emotional connection to it. You're like, I don't know, I just picked a number. But like where you want to go, for me, spiritual for me is about like what makes you come alive, what turns you on, Mm-hmm. I love, so I journal a lot. That's good. I'm getting into meditation, but it doesn't activate me quite like thinking deeply on life and what matters. So like, what turns me on spiritually is like when I think about life and I get insights about where I can grow personally. Yes. And then I share it out through Facebook is where I like to share stuff, but I share it out through Facebook. Stuff,
yeah. And that's like, cool. I see that a lot from you.
Yeah. And it's like a thing where it's like, as much as it's content and somebody from the outside in could say, oh, that's a form of marketing. Yeah. Ultimately for me, it's a self-expression. I'm like, dude, I just saw this thing and I got to tell the world about this thing I saw. And that does something for me. It lifts my spirit because I feel like I saw something,
No, that's really good. And I started doing journaling too. And it's interesting. I know one of my biggest weaknesses is I don't have time to think. And so I'll sit there and journal, what worked, what didn't work. And I review it. And And it spiritually really helps me because I'm not making the same mistakes over and over again. I don't beat myself up.
Right,
so sometimes you just have to look at, spiritually setting your goals and find out why and how important it is for you to stay in the routine, and how important it is to prevent yourself from really just beating yourself up on stuff like that. That doesn't work.
I think mentally, if I go to mental for a minute, like I did an episode, a 6-part series in November, December about unhappiness. And I just caught myself feeling really unhappy and just being like, dude, I think it's been like that for a long time and I just haven't noticed. But mentally, if I think about, so that's a mental issue, right? There was a mental issue happening. Like my thoughts weren't in a space where I could feel happy about just how things are. So I found myself listening to podcasts that have more of a spiritual slant, it just helps me reframe life and what I'm doing here and what this is all for. And that puts me in a different mental state. There's a lot of grace. There's a lot of acceptance. There's a lot of love that comes for myself through listening to those kinds of podcasts. So podcasts have been a really good tool or thing for me to continue to reframe my mindset or my mental.
Yeah. For me, I realized I always tell my clients and myself is, do things like physical exercise, stuff that challenge you, but build your confidence. Like if I walk 20 minutes and I don't stop, or, like we have this Mount Trashmore, this big, and they have these stairs. All right, let me get up there twice. And that's a great day. Or I go, what was my wins for today? Yeah, it's great. Because at the end of the day, if you don't, mental energy is about feeling you're winning, especially as an owner. Because if you don't ever think you're winning, then mentally, like, what's there to?
That's good, man. It's interesting that overlap. Like I'm hearing overlap, like with the thing that I'm doing where I'm like, okay, I'm going to fast until 11 a.m. or later.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I'm like, I'm playing a game. Like, I'm like, dude, I'm killing that part right now. I'm feeling pretty good about that. It's interesting that game and physical energy actually impacts my mental game, my mental energy game, and I think that's probably the point, right? Like a lot of this spills into none of it's isolated. It's life and it all spills into itself.
Yeah. And you're right about that. I think, when we talked about, the take care of yourself is look at the 4 energies and how do you create a process that you stay ahead of it versus behind it.
Right. If I think about like emotional energy, because that's the other one I think that we haven't covered yet, right?
Yeah. That's right.
Emotional. One of the things in that for me, I love to travel, especially like for work related. I love to speak and but even we just got back from spring break. So there's something about, and I always overlook this. I never plan this into my calendar, which is something I should probably fix. Right. But I noticed that every time I get on a plane and I fly somewhere, my mind opens up because I'm in a different environment. I start having thoughts that reconnect me to the things I want, like where I want to go, what my life is for. And emotionally, I'm filled with before that happens, I'm in the space of am I going to get there? Am I going to get there? How am I doing? Am I doing okay? Like there's all this chatter. And then I get out of that environment and I'm like, oh my God, I feel really good right now about what's happening. So
that's good. Yeah. That's awesome. I mean, I know for me, for emotionally, I have a gratitude journal and occasionally I write maybe every other day, what I'm grateful for. And when I write with my wife, my kids, business, a client or two, and then it just makes you feel good about what you're having. Because I think the hardest thing owning the business emotionally, it can be very exhausting when you're not winning, but if you don't remember the why around it, you're not grateful. So I have the journal. And then when I take vacations, like when we go out on trips, my wife and say, let's go take a trip so we can hang out with the family. Emotionally, it feels good because you're like, I was able to do something. Like I had a client who's going down to Florida. He wants to buy a second home. He goes, Arnell, I just feel good about that. Just because now I get to not only have something for my kids, I use it for other people, but I just feel good about the business providing that. I'm like, yeah, you should go out and celebrate that. That's what we're doing. We got to celebrate because I think, if we don't find the wins or we're grateful or we don't celebrate what we're winning, because I always tell my clients, if you got a big win this quarter, go out and celebrate it. Because if you can't celebrate, then you always worry about how negative. You got to learn how to celebrate. Yeah, totally. Most energy is celebrating what you're winning or feeling good about what you're accomplishing or grateful what you're doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So good. Well, I know everybody's energy plan would be different because everybody has different things that turn them on in those different areas, right?
Great.
But I think that's one of the things that you're gifted at is really asking the right questions and listening for who the individual is.
That's
If
right.
people want to reach out to you to create an energy plan or to kind of work with you to break through where they've been to where they want to go, how do people reach you?
Yeah, they can just go to my website, www.tanyag.net, or just reach out to me in my office line, 757-752-8169.
Perfect. Good stuff, Arnell. Thank you so much for sharing your insight and wisdom today, and we'll catch you next time.
All right, thanks, Chris. Have a good week. Thank you.